Ladies
Live
and
from New York,
gentlemen.
it's Saturday night.
Yo, we didn't even get to set up the cold open yet. You went right into it.
Yes, listen. If I am on this show on a Saturday night, that is my thing. I didn't want to tell you. I was just gonna.
I could have threw you the alley oop. We saw a lot of alley oops in this game. I could have threw you the alley and we could have made it go. So that is Shawn with a W. I'm Jeff J, and this is the Knicks Film School Postgame Show. Shout out to T-Square Social for breaking the Knicks Film School watch party curse and continuing to keep it broken as the New York Knicks defeat the New Orleans Pelicans in Minnesota, 104-93. This was an old-fashioned rock fight, Shawn. They brought the physicality, they brought the defense. New Orleans, they were desperate for a win. They were desperate. They've been desperate for a win for the whole season, and the Knicks were able to be resilient. We talked 2 weeks ago on Casual Friday about whether the Knicks were able to show us who they are. Whatever their identity is, this stretch of games is when you show us who you really are. Are you resilient? What are you going to do when you face these type of teams that are long, that are athletic, that get into it on the defensive end, are going to lock up and going to force you to get into the mud with them or to switch it up somehow in order to win? Serious teams, serious people win these types of games. And I think for the first time all season, I can say that the New York Knicks, they're looking like serious people, Shawn.
You know, we have said for the longest, like, you know, even like when we were discussing this game with Andrew, it's like, well, you know, the post-game show will go, we'll know how it goes if the Knicks get serious. And if the Knicks are serious, and for a while it was like, okay, they're not serious. And it's like, okay. And although I don't say they weren't serious, but it was like, you could tell early, it's like, okay, this might be one of those nights. And so many times this season, we have seen when it's one of those nights, they're like, all right, I guess, well, like, it's like they decide which, like, going to the game, they're like, all right, we're playing this team, so we're going to be in this gear, which is never fifth gear. It's always like second or third. And when the team they're playing is in like fourth or fifth gear, it's like, all right, okay, this team wants to play. All right, I guess we'll have to change it up. And them changing up is we're going to take a bunch of threes. And then when the bunch of threes don't go in, it's kind of like, man, I really, I don't know. Okay, whatever. And honestly, it looked like that for, I would say, not the first quarter, the second quarter into the third, and then then the captain, Jalen Brunson, said, you know what? It's fuck this shit o'clock. And said, I've had enough. And to you, because we were texting back and forth during the second half, and you said like the adjustment was, we're not gonna let them get set in their defense. I'm gonna get a good shot and I'm gonna pull. And once it started going in, it was all downhill from there.
And it's great to have a guy like Jalen Brunson who says, I'm pulling. This is what I'm going to do. This was the man who in the third quarter alone put up 16 points, a career high, I believe, not even career high, but a season high, 29 second half points. Shawn, at one point, the Knicks went on, the Pelicans went up 14. And then the Knicks went on a 30-10 run. Capped by Brunson and his 16 third quarter points. This is the type of games where you out-talented the other team. And I think the difference with the Knicks right now is they know they can out-talent teams, but can you outwork them? Can you out-gritty them?
Yes.
Can you out-gritty them? Can you outwork them on the defensive end? Are you going to be able to match their energy, match their physicality? And they were able to do that. They were able to do that in this second half. They outscored, I want to say they outscored the The Pels 59-44 in the second half, and that wasn't even close because the last 2 minutes became vibes. It was straight free world boss. It was nothing but vibes, right?
Mhm.
But this was a game where I look at the first half and I was happy with their resilience. And it's something that I sent out on social and I said it. I was like, there were 15 points off of 12 Knicks turnovers. They were shooting 6 of 21 from 3. And Cat played less than 10 minutes because Cat had one of his cat foul games, right? He was the cat in the hat this game. He wasn't a cat, he was the cat in the hat. Because he does not like not fouling in a box. He does not like not fouling with a fox, right? So he got into foul trouble. Less than 10 minutes he played in that half, and the Knicks were down 4. And I said, oh, okay. They got this. Then the first half of that third quarter started looking like the cup quarterfinal in Atlanta.
Yes.
Like that cup quarterfinal where they were like, man, I'm not even trying to do all this physicality. We just trying to hoop. And they looked like they were going to roll over. And you tell me what you saw, Shawn, because what I saw is everything we were talking about. When all you people thought that we were acting like some type of Neanderthals when we said we just wanted them to do something. A team violates you. A team tries to impose your will. You don't lay over. You do something. You get angry about it and do something. And for everybody who was on the whole, well, you do it on the court. You don't do it afterwards because then you're a fake tough guy. I like to see the captain get angry. And I like to see the captain take out his anger and his frustration because he was getting butched the whole game. And that's an old school New York term.
Yes, sir.
That's what was happening to him.
Yes.
He took it out on the Pels, and the rest of the team was able to feed into that energy and close a team out that shouldn't have been running the same race as them the whole game.
Listen, I said in the second quarter, the note I took for the second quarter was because I noticed when they started double teaming Brunson in the second, and I said, wait a minute. That's something you get away with last season when it's Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, Mitchell Robinson, not Mitchell Robinson. Like when it's Jalen Brunson and a bunch and Devo and 3 non-shooters, like you shouldn't get away with that in the year of our Lord 2024, right? And then also, like you said, the physicality, the refs let them play. And I don't have a problem the refs letting them play. I'll say, listen, I'll be the first one to tell you, you'll never hear me get on any type of medium and complain about officiating. But the refs were letting them play. And what we have seen this season is when the refs let them play, the Knicks go like, come on. What do we do? Oh, no. And then after a while, to your point, Jalen Brunson, he was getting butched, he was getting fouled, he was getting hacked, and he was like, you know what? I've had enough. So kudos to them because, like you said, this is looking very cup quarterfinally. It was looking very cup quarterfinally where the team punches you and you don't want to punch back, or your way to punch back is I'm going to take a bunch of threes.
Exactly.
But I'll say this. For years, we've heard Walt Clyde Frazier, the legend, say the Knicks' best defense is their offense. With this team, their best offense is their their best. Wait a minute, hold on. Let's try this again. Clyde would always say their best offense would be their defense. This team, their best defense is their offense because once the shots started going in, the Pels were like, okay. And listen, and we said it in our text chat. Everyone complains and yells about there's too many threes. People are taking too many threes. What's funny is that for years in college basketball, the three-pointer was the great equalizer, right? If North Carolina A&T is playing Duke, guess what? They're going to put up 65 threes and game the math. For this Pels team, with Trey Murphy as their primary option, they had to put up shots. They had to put up threes. And it was working. They were 6 for 12 at one point. But, and goes back to the whole talent shoot thing that you said earlier, once the Knicks got it rolling, there was nothing that the Pels could do. So, again, for this team, their best defense is their offense at times because it's like, we're going to do this. can you keep up? And we've known from watching this team all year, there are maybe 1.5 teams that can keep up with this team, with this Knicks team, when their offense is rolling.
And shout out to the Pelicans for making it a little bit easier to get back in the game with their shot selection in the third quarter. Me and Shawn were texting back and forth, and we'll give you a little bit of inside baseball right here, right? So I said the Pelicans are playing like neos. And you've heard the term before. Clyde has used it, neophyte. Me and Shawn are both in fraternities. We're both in the same fraternity, actually, right? Shout out to the alphas. We said they're playing like neos because neos are associated with youth. It's your first time in an organization. And if anybody is in especially a Black Greek-led organization, the first year guys or gals, they tend to do some stupid shit, right? Like, or some ignorant stuff because they just don't know. And they tend to be a little bit more exuberant, but like uncautiously exuberant. Yeah. So they might be a little more reckless, right? And I said they play like some neos right now because these guys were making it easy for the Knicks to get back in this game. Robinson, Earl, and DeJounte Murray was playing 2K. So he hit that fadeaway shot in the corner. I said, come on, man. Come on. But
I know what you're talking about. I saw that. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Because this is where the Knicks were working their way back. He hit the fadeaway. I threw up my hands. I said, all right, you got it. You got it. Like, if that's what you hitting, then you got it. But eventually, they regressed back to the mean because they're not a good three-point shooting team. They got hot early, and they weren't able to sustain it. And that's one thing about this team. If you're not able to sustain your offensive output, or you have a completely shut down defense, you're not going to be able to hang with this team because once they wake up, you got to hope that they don't put you to sleep. And that's what was happening with the Pelicans. And let's talk about somebody else, Shawn.
Yes.
The much maligned Mikal Bridges. I kind of liked the Mariano Rivera role for him in the fourth quarter because him and Brunson were going back and forth like Styles and Kiss.
Yes.
They were going back and forth like Styles and Kiss in the fourth quarter. He was closing it out. He had 8 points in the fourth quarter, 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3-point range, right? Like, and his defense, more than anything, the offense is going to be good. His defense was holding up. And over the last 10 games, 20 points, 53 from the field, over 42 from 3. His corner 3-point percentage is astronomical. This is a dude who the blip of those irregular good games is now an official trend after 11 games. And I think the criticism was loud. The praise got to be just as loud, if not louder, for him, because if he's settling into this version of himself, then the Knicks are going to be right where they are. And Shawn, we will never have to hear about them damn picks again.
Okay, first of all, we're always going to hear about them damn picks until we win the championship. We're all going to, because unless he becomes our leading scorer, averaging 27 a game, whatever, we're going to hear about them picks. Fuck them picks, first and foremost. That's number one. Number two, listen, I was very upset at Mr. Bridges after the NBA Cup quarterfinal.
Oh, yeah.
The things I said to you and Cedric will never make air. But I also said, like, all right, they're going to have 3 days off. They're going to play Orlando. They're going to have 3 more days off, and they're going to play Minnesota. So with 6 days, with 1 game in 7 days, they get some practice, he gets some rest, and they get to be on the same page. And I said, if they come out on the same bullshit after 1 game in 7 days, then we have a problem. But I was willing to give him and the entire team like that grace. And listen, we saw it in the Orlando game. I was like, okay, there was a marked improvement in the communication, the defense, Mikal specifically. And to your point, the offense had already caught up, but now the defense was looking better. The communication is looking better. It's not like we're supposed to switch or not switch. Like we're seeing less of that. So to your point, the apology should always be as loud as the disrespect. So we apologize to Mr. Bridges, but we also recognize there's a long way to go. And listen, there's going to be a lot of the Knicks are playing every other day until like the 29th.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these every other day games catch up to you at some point. But for now, for tonight, listen, he played amazing. You got to give him his props.
I saw homeboy Matt from the roommates pod was like, some of y'all gotta owe Mikal an apology. And I was like, well, as long as he apologizes to us too, this is about to be therapy. We both apologize for each other for what we've done, and we move, because he was playing apology worthy ball. Remember when I told you I was down with the toxic accountability. I did not want it's on me. If we didn't want them to do that, we shouldn't play the game. I mean, you know what we got to do. We got to come out. We got to play for 48 minutes. The game started at 7:30. I know this. We all know this. You just do it. So now they are doing it, and we don't gotta hear that anymore. You know, this is a team who stepped up when they needed to, and these are the games that you're gonna have to win in the mud. Like, this is what it is. It's not always gonna be the beautiful game. Sometimes it's gonna be beautiful madness. Sometimes it's going to be a beer goggle game. Sometimes it's going to be a beer goggle game where it looks way better. It looks way better than what it actually is, because you're looking at it through a certain lens. You know what I mean? Like, this is a team right here with all they had going on. They still shot over 40% from three because they heated up towards the end. This was a team overall. They lost the rebound battle by 2, but only lost the offensive rebound by 1. They was working on them offensive boards. Just wasn't making any layups. Once again, 17 turnovers, 23 points for the Pelicans. And let's give credit where credit is due, right? Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, that was an excellent tryout for if you try to get on somebody's team. If you like, yo, can we still get that deal with Rockefeller? They you know, if they say can we still get that deal with Rockefeller? They put on a good showcase, because Trey Murphy would have had to go full Will Smith for them to come back in that game. We were saying that. I don't know who else was trying to take threes, but it's got to be DeJohn middies and Trey Murphy threes for them to get back in. Herb Jones is as advertised on the defensive end. That zone was giving the Knicks fits. They did everything that they had to do. The Pelicans played like the rent was due. They paid like the rent was due, and they still going to have to ask for an extension after this one. So I want to shout them out. Like, them boys was hooping. Them boys was hooping. They just did not have enough in the end, and the Knicks were able to out-talent them to get the dub.
You were talking about therapy earlier, you know, of the word like triggering, right? Like, when I saw them break out that zone, it brought me back to the last 2 seasons where teams like Miami, for example, would play the zone and we wouldn't know what to do. But we all knew it was okay, well, we don't have the shooting. Like, you play zone against teams that don't shoot. Listen, the funniest thing you'll ever see is playing zone on a playground against people from the hood.
Oh,
they're
God.
just like they're flummoxed, and then they start calling you all types of names. I'm like, you can't shoot. But then I was like, and I think I texted it to you. I was like, wait a minute, you're playing zone against this team? Now, granted, they broke out the zone this second when Cat was out. It was like the campaign. Brunson was out. It was like campaign, Deuce, OG, and I was like, okay, this is cool. You can't get away with this when the starters come back to the game, but it was just like, shout out to Willie Green. He knew his team was undermanned, and he pulled out all the stops. He pulled out all the tricks. Like,
and he said he was.
Yeah, he did everything. And it worked for 2.5 quarters. It worked for 2.5 quarters. But then after a while, again, as I said earlier, Jalen Brunson said, F this, which I don't know if you have an autographed moment of the game, because I have one.
Oh, we definitely on the synergy today, because I was just messaging you to like go with it.
All right.
You run in point?
I run point. Yeah.
Right, cool.
So the autograph signature moment of the game. Shout out to Autograph. If you don't have the Autograph app, please download the Autograph app, because you can get paid for literally reading about your favorite basketball team or your favorite team, period. Or download the Autograph app on iOS or Google Play. So Jalen, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Point of order. Can I give my signature and then do my quick dip and come back? Because by the time you do that, I can be back for the super chats.
No problem.
9:48 in the third. OG Anunoby deflects deflects a pass. They get the ball back. He deflects it again, gets the steal. Jalen Brunson comes down on the other end, hits the layup. Knicks went up 10, and they didn't really relinquish the lead. I thought that was like in the fourth, that was like a key play where it was one of the final stamp outs of whatever type of run the Pelicans were going to make. It gave them some distance. And then they got into the shooting match, which few teams are going to win that against the Knicks. So that was my signature moment of the game. Y'all need to sign up for autograph. Macri's giving y'all a whole bunch of exclusive content in there. Do your thing. Do the right thing. Sign up with the signature moment. Shawn, I'm listening in spirit. Yes. I will be right back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Who did that? Who did that?
Don Cornelius. No, was it Don
Cornelius?
Was
That's Chuck Woolery.
Oh, Chuck Woolery. I forgot my 80s television
right.
host.
Here, I got you. Love, peace, and soul. All right, y'all. I'll be back for the super chats. Give me 1 minute. Shawn, handle the autograph.
Yes, sir. All right. So my signature moment of the game is, and I have it right here. Where I had it right here. It was 4 minutes and 27 seconds left in the third quarter. Jalen Brunson makes 28-foot three. And that's my signature moment of the game because we saw that Jalen was starting to heat up because it was 62-48. And it was like, okay, this is really like annoying. Josh Hart hit a 2. OG had the dunk from the cat pass. But then with 6:32 left, Jalen Brunson hit a layup. Jalen Brunson 10-foot floating jumper. Jalen Brunson 3. Jalen Brunson, he's missing, he hit 2 free throws, who cares? Jalen Brunson 3. And then that cut the lead to 5. CJ McCollum hit a floater that made it 7. But then Jalen Brunson, 4:27 left in the third, hit a 28-foot three. And I remember watching it, and he pulled from well behind the three-point line. And when he pulled, I said, that's good. Because I knew at that point he decided, you know what, I'm winning this game. And he already hit a few shots in a row. And when he hit that shot, I started going like this. I was like this. Because at that point, I knew, I was like, okay, Jalen's had enough of this, and I think we're gonna win this game. And when he hit that shot, that put us down. That put us down 4. And then they missed because DeJounte took a 25. DeJounte took a 3 and missed. And listen, I will give DeJounte Murray any shot he wants outside of 19 feet. Jeff mentioned earlier when he hit that 3 in the corner against OG, and I'm like, all right, dog, whatever. But for me, from that point on, it felt like, okay, we are going to win this game because, again, our best defense is our offense because you can't really keep up with us if we're hit. If there's certain teams that are on, it's like, all right, they're on. It's a back and forth. But certain teams that are on, they're on. What we're on, we are on, and it's really, really hard to keep up with us. And again, I think there's 1.5 teams in the league that can go shot for shot, band for band, whatever, if we're on. So that is the signature moment of the game presented by Autograph. Again, please download the Autograph app. If you don't have the Autograph app, please download it on iOS or Google Play. You literally get paid for reading about your favorite team, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, hockey. Download the Autograph app today.